Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that a lot of gamers are familiar with in one way or another, whether that's a good or bad thing. And this really shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, because ever since 2012, a lot of people were anticipating the release of CD Projekt Red's latest hit title as if it was the greatest thing since Epstein Island. There was literally unfathomable amounts of hype and excitement surrounding this game up until that fateful day of December 10th, 2020. To everybody's disappointment after waiting 8 long, grueling years for the game to launch, it just really freaking sucked. Kind of like your mother. The whole premise of Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty simple. The game is set in the dystopian megacity, aptly referred to as Night City, where ultra-rich megacorporations rule over the common citizens. It's a world where anybody can be whoever or whatever they want, and with a little bit of cyber augmentation, courtesy of your local Ripperdoc, you might even be able to get some bitches on your dick. The possibilities are truly endless, and although your in-game character doesn't get absolute freedom and control over this world, the game does a really amazing job at leaning into the RPG aspect of Cyberpunk, allowing you to make your character truly unique through various systems available to you in the game. For a little bit of background, you start your game out as V, and you're able to choose from one of 3 life path origin points. You'll either start as a Nomad, Street Kid, or Corpo. Each one of these only has a major impact on the first 30 minutes or so of your campaign, but they do give you access to unique dialogue options and certain conversations at various points throughout the game.
You ever work for a corp?
You trying to offend me?
At the start, it may not seem like your dialogue choices matter very much, but just like your father deciding not to wear a condom, you'll soon realize that your decisions weigh very heavily on how your campaign is going to play out. There are 5 drastically different main story endings, so it's incredibly important that you take your time to choose the right dialogue option when the time arises, because this game can be brutal when it comes to making decisions. The time it takes to finish the game varies greatly depending on which ending you end up getting. My game took me roughly 25 hours to complete. As for what the story actually entails, it's rather simple. V is an average person just trying to make a name for themselves like everyone else in Night City, and however they do that is completely up to you as the player. The game really just gives you a general direction to follow and then sets you free. Who you decide to kill, befriend, and fuck is almost entirely up to you. And I say almost because there are of course a few exceptions where you're really just given the illusion of choice, and some choices don't have a major impact on the story, but most of the game is relatively free-form. Cyberpunk boasts a
very large
open world full of opportunities for you to explore, as well as tons of unique side missions to complete. This could potentially include murder, murder 2, and even murder in a vehicle. Thanks to Cyberpunk, I no longer feel the urge to lure innocent children to my van with the promise of snuggles, hugs, and even kisses. An aspect where this game feels rather unique is its cyberware system. In most RPGs, you'll have perks, weapons, and armor, which each give their own stats, and sometimes they might even give you a special effect. But in Cyberpunk, you get all of that plus cyberware augmentations, and it adds a pretty unique extra layer to what would otherwise be very generic build crafting. Some examples of items you can get to augment yourself with are melee augments like gorilla arms and mantis blades, as well as general bodily augments such as the second heart, which revives you on death, and the Sandevistan, which slows down time around you. This game also has dozens of unique pieces of armor and weapons to choose from. There are shotguns, SMGs, snipers, blades, etc. There's also a weapon type referred to as smart weapons, which when paired with a smart link augmentation, allow your bullets to lock onto and track enemies. If you enjoy what you're seeing so far, consider hitting that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it's not like you have anything to lose besides your virginity anyway, so back to the video. Being an RPG, this game of course has its own version of legendary gear in the form of iconics, and there are well over 100 of them, including the prototype Shingen Mark V, which is a smart SMG that shoots explosive bullets, and even Skippy.
Name, Skippy.
Wait, what are you doing?
A handful of these weapons are only available in the Phantom Liberty DLC, but the vast majority of them do come from the base game. On top of this, the perk trees for your cyberware and weapons are rather insane. If we take a look at the Reflexes skill tree, you'll find abilities such as Gun Dancer, which allows you to shoot while vaulting and negates the movement speed penalty that comes with aiming. There's also Slaughterhouse, which causes all attacks to apply bleeding, increasing dismemberment chance and making enemies more susceptible to finishers. You even have the option to spec into a full-on Netrunner build using the Intelligence tree and play the game without touching a single weapon. A perk you can find here is Copy Paste, which makes it so that whenever you're the target of an enemy Netrunner, using a quick hack against them will spread the quick hack's effects to their allies. And believe me when I say that you will need a great build to succeed in your endeavors as a Night City mercenary. Because not only are thugs and gangsters quite formidable foes, but just like women's rights, the police are no joke either. Thanks to the 2.0 update, police received a major overhaul. They will no longer spontaneously construct an earthly vessel right in front of your mortal eyes every time you punch a child, as they now physically exist within the world at all times. They'll drive around on patrol, and if you commit a crime, they will come and hunt you down. Even if you try to get away in your car, they may perform pit maneuvers and set up roadblocks to stop you. Also, you can hide from the police, so if they literally cannot see you, they can't catch you. None of that he said, she said fucking bullshit in my dystopian future RPG. Speaking of running away in vehicles, which you should totally try in real life by the way, there are dozens of purchasable vehicles, some of which come with guns and are considered combat vehicles. You can also even blow out people's tires, which is a surprisingly fun little game to play with your friends and family on long road trips. The Phantom Liberty DLC starts off incredibly strong, immediately sending you to the brand new zone Dogtown and introducing you to a whole new cast of characters with some incredible performances. Dogtown is admittedly a shithole, but it's just about as polished as a turd can get. It expands upon Cyberpunk's already incredibly diverse open world with a shift from the clean streets and bright lights to abandoned buildings and worn down roads, offering you an entirely unique perspective on Night City. But where exactly does our favorite mercenary V fit into the story of Dogtown? Well, if you've been paying any attention at all whatsoever at literally any freaking point in time, you would know that V basically has a time bomb implanted into their head. At the end of Act 2 of the base game, you're contacted by a mysterious individual known as Songbird, who claims that she is an expert time bomb remover, and now you will be her boy toy until further notice. I will say that although the cast of characters is rather small, they're all extremely unique, have plenty of different dialogue paths, and are overall incredibly memorable new NPCs with outstanding voice acting performances, sure to keep you captivated throughout the whole DLC. And of course, the icing on the cake is that Keanu Reeves is back once again to bring us more exciting Johnny Silverhand content. I really wish Johnny would come inside of my head one day.
Wake the f up.
Aside from a brand new zone and a new story, Phantom Liberty also offers a few other minor changes. One of these is the Relic perk tree. It's pretty much exactly as the name would imply, a perk tree for your relic. It's pretty bare bones, however, as it mainly only affects your cyberware implants such as gorilla arms, mantis blades, and mono wire. Once you're finished with the main story, you still have even more content, because Phantom Liberty took the liberty of adding 2 new mission types. The first of these is airdrops, which pits you against bar guests in a time trial to see who can grab cargo drops first upon landing. The other type of mission added was courier missions, where you'll simply just find vehicles marked with a blue wheel scattered across the world, and bring them back to the fixer El Capitan. Sometimes enemies will chase you and you'll have to either kill them or get them off your tail before you can complete the mission. Finally, Phantom Liberty also comes with new weapons and cyberware. This includes over 24 new iconic weapons and iconic cyberware in total. In my humble opinion, I think Phantom Liberty is an absolutely necessary purchase in order to get the full Cyberpunk experience. Not only does it contain an unforgettable story that offers several new alternate endings, but it also adds tons of content that honestly feels like an entirely new game in and of itself. If you aren't tight on cash, I would highly recommend picking this up alongside the base game. Overall, Cyberpunk 2077 is a visually stunning, massively ambitious, top-of-the-line sci-fi role-playing game with some of the most compelling build crafting, storytelling, and gameplay elements that are sure to keep you entertained for dozens of hours spanning multiple playthroughs. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.